Chuck. Tingle. Chuck. Tingle. Chuck. Tingle. Chuck. Tingle.
Hello, I'm Fiona Bruce and welcome to
The Chuck Tingle Book Club.
Oh, yeah. Hello, and how do true buckaroos? Welcome back to the Chuck Tingle Book Club, brought to you by the fine reprobates at the Pot Topic Podcast. As ever, I am your resident Chuckademic Taz, and with me I've got this guy.
Yes, hello, Taran. Yes, I am Tom. And mays I say a warm welcome to all our viewers, or is that too corny, or am I just confused? I'll let you know a little kernel of truth if I might pop my load any second. So viewers at home, lend me your ears and let's begin, shall we? But beware, little ones, the content within might shock and amaze you. The tale of two husky men finding love as we watch them voyeur style getting at it, as if we're almost stalking them in the night. Corn puns, baby!
I've got to stop this immediately.
Fuck off.
All right, and despite the horrors you've just been submitted to there, here on this podcast, we like to dive into the Chuckiverse, the Chuck Tingle universe, and through that, examine the immortal science of love. Tom, what have we got today? I mean, has it got something to do with wheat?
No, it's actually got a lot to do with cornholing, which are these things right behind me, cornholing boards. You've ever been to a fair?
No way, are they actually cornholing boards?
Yeah, look.
Oh, shit, that's amazing.
I couldn't believe my
so
luck
good.
when I found it. I could not believe my luck when I found this on Google Images. Thank you, whoever put it up there. I'm ripping off and not paying you, but I don't care. Yeah, we are doing this one. So, living corn, James Corny fired in the butt from two-time Hugo Award finalist Chuck Tingle.
Yeah, which comes at an interesting time at the time of recording. The presidency has just been taken away from that proto-fascist orange fuckbag, given to just a garden variety fuckbag.
Another pun. One might say Trump, Biden.
Tom,
I will stop.
Your family are trying to reach you. You've got to stop this and wake up.
Wake up, Neo. Yeah, so let's get on with this.
Yeah,
let's
cool.
do my little Tomnopsis.
Yeah, Tomnopsis time, baby.
All right, so Mr. Trimp, our protagonist, is a corrupt, fame-hungry politician. He is head of the American Agricultural Society Agency, beg your pardon, and happy with the way he leads his life until James Corny turns up. James is a handsome living corn on the cob who is in charge of keeping everything above board when it comes to the ethics and the dealings of the AAA. And he seems to be doing a good job keeping Trimp from fleecing the fuck out of the American people. Corny is determined to expose the truth. Trimp has been receiving bribes from the Russian beet industry. That's right, the RBI, ladies and gentlemen, for years. Corny plans to dethrone Trimp as the head of the AAA. Before the hearing, Trimp invites Corny to his office with the aims of coercing and even bribing Corny to call an end to the investigation into Trimp's activities. Neither man will go down without a fight.
Oh no, is this what happens when you read this shit sober?
Yeah, this is the problem when I have more than 2 hours to prepare. Little behind the stage here. This is the second time we tried to meet up for recording because the first time I was too hungover. Anyway. Trimp will do anything not to be exposed. Exposure could lead to criminal charges. I mean, colluding with the RBI. Core fucking blimey. After Corny... Get it? Corn blimey. After Corny leaves... Yeah,
I heard that thing
it.
you said. Core. It was core blimey, wasn't it? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, punishing. After Corny leaves the office In disgust, after a failed bribe, Trimp is visited by a muscular Russian beat who grabs him by the throat, slams him into a wall, and threatens Trimp to get this Corny problem under control. Trimp decides the only way to get out of this predicament is to fire Corny before the investigation's finished. It's a bit obvious, isn't it? It's almost as if it's paralleling something in reality, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder what that could be.
Yeah. Trimp runs straight over to the bar where he knows Corny will be, buys him a beer, and tells him that he's fired. Corny points out that this is not the way they do things, and Trimp actually asks Corny how he should fire him. Incompetence through and through. Corny fetches a document from his briefcase.
Pick up on that one.
Yeah. He actually asks him, right, how do I fire you then? Corny fetches a document from his briefcase and reads, all terminations of high-ranking officials by the head of the American Agricultural Agency shall be done done from within their own butt. Yeah, strap in for that one.
Yeah. I had some trouble with some relevant. I don't know what Chuck was actually aiming for from.
I mean, I had to reread that little bit and pass it several times through my brain to work out what the fuck was actually going on. But we'll get to it. Trimp is immediately turned on by this homoerotic suggestion and the intoxicating taboo nature of the proposition. Trimp feels his cock hardening within his pants, aching to break free. Corny takes Trimp into a dark alley by the side of the bar. Romantic. The second they are hidden from view, that's when they start to enter the little zone they know as pleasure, don't they?
Take you to the pleasure zone, baby.
Handy body exploration. You're fucking fired. Tell me about it. Corn tears off the man's pants. Massive cock pops forth. Mutual masturbation. Trimp to knees. Corn cock straight in the gob. Face hammering, a lot of face hammering, while beating himself off and cupping the Corn's yellow balls at the same time. Talon. Also, loving the gagging noise there, Taran. Thank you very much for that one. Halt on the jackhammering, gobble down for a deep throat, fails and gags, tries again. Somehow I managed to relax my gag reflexes this time. The next thing I know, my face is pressed up against the living agricultural supple incredible set of abs. Playful wink to the cobby boy. Playful wink to the cobby boy. Playful wink, I need a playful wink. There you go. Oh, fuck that dick's so fucking huge, I tell him. I need it in my tight ass. On all floors, playful wiggle theme. Cock rim tease theme. Brutally expanding of Trump's rectum. Trimp's first prostate orgasm's on the way. Corny flips the Trimp. Actually, I wrote that quite well. Corny flips the Trimp and face-to-face fucking resumes. Trimp feels a connection to the Corn and now...
It's almost missing something there, isn't it? Flips the Trimp like he's on a Barbie.
Butter him up. Trimp feels a connection to the Corn and now we can't fire him. I'm so sorry, I tell James Corny. Tears begin to fill my eyes. I love you. I love you too, the handsome Corn tells me. I can't... Okay, too much quoting in this synopsis, sorry. I can feel the living Corn's cock twitching within me as he unloads his massive payload of semen, the warm spunk filling my arsehole until there's no room left. Soon enough, the jizz comes squirting out all over the edges of my tightly packed rim, running down the crack of my arse in pearly streaks as it drips into the alley floor below us. Romantic. Now, it's Trimp's turn.
Yummy.
As protocol dictates, get it? Dictates, that Corny must be fired in his butt. Trimp has a touch of an ethical thought, but then fucks the Corn in the butt anyway, as he's an evil little shit. At this point, the fucking in the alleyway turns into a lush valley with hills and trees. There's a shoreline and shit.
The fucking doesn't. So Trimp climbs bodily into James Corny's
butthole.
And once he goes into the butt, I don't know. It's almost like a kind of Inception sort of shit, like going another level into the timeline or something.
See, I took it more like South Park Lemmy Winks. He was almost going a quest in the guy's butt. It's kind of
not a colon wall in sight though.
No, this is true.
Here, this is rolling lush fields and a man in a taxi. In fact,
Exactly. So said driver offers Trimp a lift. He takes him to the courthouse as he's going to fire someone in the outside world. The driver is called Buck. I don't know why I need to say that, but never mind. Buck remarks that he's met some of Trimp's reverse twins from other timelines and hopes that Trimp is a better guy than those guys are. Oh no, I'm not, he admits, shaking his head. And I'm going to let Taryn probably do the quote later on. But
yeah. This one features.
I thought I'd better leave that one to you. But yeah, he's a piece of shit, just like someone we might know. Buck says the fact that
what I will say about Buck just quickly is I don't get into it because I'm trying to save word space in the essay. But Buck is I'm 99% sure it's Chuck self-insert Buck Trunkle. It's literally the author having a conversation with this Trimp analog. And I think the mention of this character, this Buck, going between different timelines in the same way that Chuck says that he does, for me pretty much sells it on the fact that this is Buck Trungle.
I think you might be right there. Here. I did not make that connection. But Buck says the fact that Trimp actually acknowledges that he's a bad guy makes him better than most of his counterparts. Good one there. Good that one. Tingle. Trimp gets to the courthouse, makes literally, it's phrased this way, makes a firing by filling out a yellow unethical firing form. Trimp then realises he's the only one here and a profound sense of loneliness fills his soul. There we go.
Yep, that is in a nutshell, and maybe another couple of shells on top. That is the story of living Corn James Corny fired in the butts. Anyway, here is my analysis of that self-same story.
It's another pun.
So, if you've ever been to a wedding, particularly of the Christian or traditional Euro-American ilk, there's a good chance that you've encountered one particular Bible passage. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. That was a quick blast of 1 Corinthians 4-7 for you there. Don't get used to it. A lot of people think it's beautiful. I think it's a good start and something Bible-waving nationalists would do well to pay literally any fucking attention to whatsoever. The point is this. In that list of what love is and isn't, and what it does and doesn't do, there is something that definitely jumps out at me. It's fucking hard, man. Everything in that list can be easily tested by people just by being people. Sometimes love can be easy. Hanging with the best bud can be the simplest damn thing in the world. Loving a newborn can be so easy as to be almost automatic. And sometimes you can find that perfect person and love them so smoothly and clingingly, it's like your heart's coated into silicone. But I used sometimes for a reason there. Oftentimes, it isn't easy. It can be taxing. That best bud might get into the cult of QAnon. That child could grow up to be a free market absolutist. That person might keep running down the batteries on the bloody sex toys. Sorry, that was just something. It doesn't matter. A perfect person might do a murder or something. I don't know. Whatever the reason, that love you hold for someone becomes so much more difficult to maintain. What do you do in that situation? Should you do anything? If you've been wronged by someone you love, do they deserve your love? I mean, that's tricky enough as it is, but what if it's someone you don't love? What if this person is some con man or traitor or demagogue or imprisoner of babies or wielder of state violence or someone who couldn't understand enough about truth in order to rejoice in it? How do you square away proving love in the face of someone like Donald Trump? Well, to figure that out,
he's got his club prop.
We're just going to have to do the science. Part 1. politics in the timelines. Living Corn James Corny gets fired in the butt follows one Donald Trump, head of the American Agriculture Agency, who, by his own admission, is as crooked as they come. Hang on, should I be doing as crooked as they come? No, can't do a Trump.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
He has a problem in the shape of a handsome living corn, James Corny, who is head of the ethics committee and out to get Dimmold for covering up bribes from the Russian beet industry for years. Trimp's solution is simple. He's going to fire Corny. Problem solved. At least, this is how this little intrigue plays out on their timeline. On ours, it was, broadly speaking, more or less the same. On the 9th of May, 2017, Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States of America, fired James Comey, then Director of the FBI. This happened 2 days before Comey was due to testify before the Senate Intelligence Committee regarding the Russian election interference investigation. As a result, Comey's deputy became the acting director and spoke in his place. The move was widely condemned, and comparisons were made to President Nixon's firing of the special prosecutor leading the investigation into the Watergate scandal. There's a lot more to the story, with a whole morass of attorney generals, press officers, leaked memos, and more that we could get into, but it'll suffice to say that it amounted to precisely dick all. The similarities between these two stories, however, I think are obvious. But it can't help but spur a nagging question. Chuck's entire mission is to prove that love is real. Why should a story of political fuckery be of any use in this? Especially one where there are no repercussions, no justice. Doubled especially when the story is inspired by the political tantrums of a hate-mongering authoritarian like Donald Trump. It's a fair question. Just what the fuck is going on here? Part 2. Catharsis. The first and most obvious motivation behind this work is to provide an emotional release for the author and the audience. There's a definite note of schadenfreude that runs throughout the story, but it's not aimless. Chuck hasn't written a story wherein a gamut of random unpleasant things happen to this character. Instead, the focus is more specific. Every moment of unpleasantness that happens as a result of our Dimmold Trimp's past and present actions. It's the schadenfreude of watching a dirtbag have his chickens come home to roost. Our first slice of this comes with the initial meeting between Trimp and Corny. Trimp tries to buy Corny off to kill the investigation into Trimp's ties to Russian beet, only to be firmly and repeatedly turned down. After the third attempt, and having grown tired with this little game, the sentient vegetable stands up and heads for the office door. It's satisfying, to see the corrupt fall afoul of the uncorruptible, especially when Trimp cries out in a moment of panic and confusion, the money's spilling everywhere. It makes him look pathetic and a little ridiculous. And, oh, baby, that shit feels good. But this is only the warm-up. Trimp soon receives a visit from the bad actor he's in bed with, Russian Beets. The living vegetable steps around my desk and grabs me by the throat, lifting me out of my chair and slamming me hard against the wall so that I'm now gasping for air. The scene is a little violent, but not explicitly so or brutally so. The point here isn't wishing harm on our Trump analog, but to create a situation wherein a person used to abusing their power suddenly has that power stripped away. Ooh, that's scrumptious. When confronted by his Russian bedfellows, Trimp tries to slime his way out of his predicament by deciding to fire Corny. The beat looks slightly confused. You're going to fire the head of the department that's investigating you? Won't that just make you look more guilty?
Don't do that one either.
This fairly obvious statement and sentiment held by about half of America at the time, in our timeline, is later echoed by James Corny himself upon learning of his imminent firing, but not before his expression changes into a simmering grin that grows and grows until eventually it becomes a hysterical fit of laughter. And we all know what this is. This is some of that primo, top shelf, uncut, told you so good shit. It's pure, fully justified call-out porn. And we often can't help but do it. You see stupid, you call stupid. And daddy like. But we're not done yet, no. Once fully inside Corny's ass dimension, Trimp is given a lift by Chuck's self-insert Buck of Buck Trungle fame. The two get talking, and Buck expresses a hope that Trimp is better than his reverse twins on the other timelines. Oh, I'm not, I admit, shaking my head. I'm a terrible person. I'm corrupt, heartless, greedy, probably sociopathic, and I'm also just kind of a blustering buffoon. I'm in politics, but I can barely form complete sentences. I got here by preying on the deep racism of a certain voting bloc. Also, money. I had a lot of money to spend. When you're unethical, you can spend it in ways others can't. Trimp here is essentially acting as a surrogate for the author and the audience in order to say what they're both thinking in a moment of lucid admission of his own bullshit. The satisfaction we get from this is the same thing that powers the liberal gotcha fantasy that Aaron Sorkin has made an entire career out of. Mm-hmm. Self-righteous? Yeah, a little. Delicious? Absolutely. Now, here comes the Schadenfreude load-blowing darlings. Trimp gets to the courthouse, picks up the form for an unethical firing, and then I realize suddenly that I'm the only one here, completely alone in a massive, empty chamber. Everything Trimp has done in the past has brought him to this final moment. The cascade of corrupt decisions after corrupt decisions collapse around him and leaves him with no plans, no cronies, no choices. It's just him and his final act of corruption. Was it good for you?
Yeah.
Part 3. Empathy. Now, here's the rub. In amongst all this catharsis...
I just did the rub. Sorry, I just did the rub.
I didn't even pick up on that on my phone, on my right through. So now, here's the rub. In amongst all this catharsis, it's vital to remember something. A small, inalienable, burning spark of truth that we must hold in our hearts no matter what. Regardless of the mistakes, the hideous words, the terrible actions, and even the world-shaking atrocities. Despite all that, the person at the center of such horrors is still human, with human drives, human responses, human feelings, and human experience. It doesn't matter whether they've afforded that same courtesy to others, it's vital that we accept and understand that. It's essential to empathize. Now, when I say empathize here, I don't mean it in its most common usage, to feel with someone else, to experience their emotions with them. Instead, we're aiming to develop the skill of cognitive empathy, of empathic accuracy. Rather than to experience, the point is to understand. Chuck achieved this in a couple of interesting ways. One of these comes from taking the Trump-Comey backroom intrigue and turning it into a back alley backdoor one. I find it telling that in Living Corn James Corny gets fired in the butt, Trimp is absolutely in the position of power over Corny. But when it comes to the cornholing, Trimp takes the role of bottom. In power dynamic plays and sex, it's often considered that the one putting in is the one that has power over the one putting out. And yet Tingle sidesteps this patriarchal construct, and for good reason. I feel the idea here is to demonstrate that vital spark of truth that is Trimp's humanity. In his being the bottom in this fuck-firing frisson, we're being reminded that Trimp shares one of those essential human requirements, to receive love. The way Trimp goes about receiving love and the metrics by which he might measure it, be that money, power, praise, or whatever, it's very much up for criticism. Despite that, it's important to note that inherent human drive if we're going to give those cognitive empathy muscles a proper workout. Despite your feelings, Trimp and Trump are human, so you can just jot that down. Now that we've been reminded of that humanity, it's time to move past the base Schadenfreude and have a look at the experience of being Trimp. From this point on, it begins to become clear that our Chucktagonist is not having a great time. He's been threatened with violence from the Russian beats and potential legal consequence if his involvement is brought to light. Sure, but it gets worse. During the bone down with Corny, Trimp reflects that the last thing that I want to do is fire him, but my hands are tied by these Russian beats waiting quietly in the wings. This is just moments before he professes his love for the handsome living Corn. So on top of everything else, the series of events that Trimp has instigated means that he will inexorably lose his love. There's nothing he can do. It's going to happen. And then we have the final moment of the story, where we've just had the satisfaction of seeing Trimp realize that his actions have left him entirely alone in a courthouse. We then hear Trimp's experience of the moment. A profound sense of loneliness overwhelms me as I begin to fill out James Corny's termination form. Perhaps at this moment, we can come to understand that while Trimp has foolishly been the architect of his own downfall, he's also a victim of it. Conclusion. Obviously, this story is about showing what happens if you don't prove love and instead you go about things corruptly. And also, I think there's a little naive note here that at the time, Tingle was hoping that, Trump might see any blowback from his actions whatsoever. Naive, but sorry, I forgot to add that into the writing. But anyway, living James Corny gets fired in the butt is as much a tale of Schadenfreude as it is one of empathy. The question is, how do these two things come together to prove love? Well, it's something of a catch and release relationship, or rather, release and catch. The release aspect comes from taking joy from Trimp's, and by extension, Trump's position. It's a release valve intended to ease any emotional pressure we might have built up regarding the situation, and hugely important if we wish to retain any balance in the matter. This process can be vital in love. How many times, dear buckaroo, have you taken the opportunity to bitch about a colleague, a friend, a family member, a partner, your child even? At a time and in a place where you know your words will go no further and do no harm, you may take a moment to complain about, even insult, someone you deeply love. You might say some real gnarly shit, and then no doubt apologize or diminish what you said to whomever you're talking to about it. But then you do feel just a bit better about the situation afterwards. We all do it from time to time. It's a perfectly human thing to do. We ease the tension we build up around an issue so that we're less likely to dwell on it and let it fester. You can think more clearly about it, and that way it doesn't turn into a larger problem. Chuck does this with Schadenfreude in this book. He eases the tension and allows us to think more clearly about Trimp, opening the way for empathy. So that's the release, but this is the catch. Tingle is asking us to empathize with Trimp. Not to feel bad for him or feel with him necessarily, just to understand that there's someone as human as us at the center of it all. Once we can swallow that admittedly bitter pill, we can try to imagine ourselves in the same position and learn from it. Trimp's primary goals seem to be power and money, much as you'd expect from a character inspired by a greedy rabble-rouser. But these are not pure things to love, and in the corrupt pursuit of these loves, Trimp loses out on actual worthy love from James Corny. It's an utter clusterfuck situation, and not one any of us is likely to repeat on such a scale. But it is human-driven, and that means any human ultimately has the potential to do the same. Think what you will about Trimp, or his counterpart on our timeline. Just release that tension. Much of it is bad writing. Think what you will about Trimp or his counterpart on our timeline. Much of it is no doubt deserving. Think it, say it, release that tension. But remember to love the worst of us just enough to respect their humanity and understand how a human can go so very, very wrong. That way, we can catch ourselves if we ever start to become like them. Like I said in the intro, love isn't always easy. In fact, some people make it downright difficult. But release the tension and catch yourself. That's how you'll prove love. You don't seem
Yeah.
convinced.
No, absolutely. Obviously you're way more charitable than I am as a person, but you make a very valid point. He is a human, and he's been put in a position where he could easily have been corrupted by a lot of outside forces, even forces of his own doing. So, yeah, very well put.
Oh, it's
Still a cunt.
just.
Um,
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Just learn from his monstrousness, and don't do that.
absolutely.
Even to him, solid lesson. Don't be
I
a
mean,
monster.
Talking about monsters.
Mm.
Wagwan!
No, won't have it. Won't. Is he? No, I can see him. I can see him.
Wagwan, what is a gowanin? My name is Tingletron 4000. Greetings, holy human. I am Tingletron 4000. Book review scoreboard. All scores are final.
God, it's like
Where's
nails down the chalkboard of my soul.
And where is your lesson now, Taran? Where is your lesson now?
You're not a person. You are a machine. And a
Your
bad
words-
one at that.
And you might be a writer, but your words stab at me like a swordsman.
All right.
I'm not
You know
going to
what?
be that. That'll do. I'm not going to be that. So, right. So, what we do at this point is apply some mathematics to our already discussed science, and we get to score the book out of 10 by breaking it down into looking at the tingle as the cover art, getting to the tingle as the pacing, giving you the tingle as the sexiness, saving you some tingle is how you recommend the book to someone, and the tingle tilt, which is the reviewer's tilt, which we give a little bit of a bonus or take away from it as we see fit. To give us a final score, overall score, the 4 score.
Sweetie, I've only just noticed your nails. I'm loving your nails.
Oh, I made an effort today. I put on a hat and did nails because you don't want to see the hair under here. Fuck, it's
God,
fucked.
my nails are a mess. Oh God, I need to redo my nails at some point.
Yes. But yeah, so let's look at this cover art, shall we? So all these scores are going to be out of 5. The final score will be out of 10 because that is maths.
That's science, baby. That's the immortal science of love right there.
And let's be honest, where the fuck are they? I guess that's supposed to be the office.
This is a good question, actually. This is a very, very good question. Oh God, I'm gonna have to take you off airplane. I ought to have a look, aren't I? Yep, there we go.
But yeah,
is it a courthouse?
Your courthouse might be the here. No, I don't know. Can't exactly tell where they are. However, the corn is in fact a cob of corn. He's very husky. The bloke.
Your jokes are a load
definitely
of old
has-
cobblers, you know that.
The bloke has a 6-pack, which is described that Dimmald does have. So, not bad.
I ain't
would
loving
prefer-
it, man. I ain't loving it.
I ain't loving it.
Not
but
one of my favourites.
It's not that evocative of Donald Trump, is what I'm getting at.
Yes, yeah, that's true. But there's got to be some. I suppose there's got to be some eye candy on there, hasn't there?
True.
Uh,
Some might say, "Well, why didn't you candy the corn?"
I'm thinking somewhere in the high 2s for me in this
Yeah.
one.
Go for it.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna give it a 2.711.
Okay, that's fine. I was just gonna go really low 2s to be fair, so I'm gonna go 2.177.
Awesome. This is it. This is science, babies.
Yep.
You're seeing it done live. This is how it works in labs and everything.
I mean, if we were to observe ourselves making scores, we'd change the result as well. So let's not get into that. Tingle.
Oh.
Get into the tingle. It's the pacing. I was about to make a joke that was going to make no sense, so don't worry about it.
No, I loved it. Yeah. Yeah, we collapsed
to
the
the tingle.
waveform.
Exactly. White noised it. Getting to the tingle. Pacing.
Pretty good, man. Pretty good, actually. This one, it does a lot. It does a lot, and it does it quite smoothly.
We had a setup of really developed characters. We had danger. We had an antagonist. We had straight into action scenes.
We had some time in a bar.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we had some more action scenes, and then we had dimensional travel through someone's butt. Okay, and
taxi ride with the author or author surrogate,
and then conclusion of complete and utter loneliness. So yeah, that's
a lot. Do you know what? Actually, when you break it down like that, I'm just a straight 4.9.
You know what? I'm gonna just keep it simple. That is definitely a 4.9 to me too.
Yeah. That's pacey, well written. Yeah, like it.
Gameplay sexiness. There's a lot of jackhammering. It's not passionate. It's more just raw.
Yeah,
poundage.
there was something that wasn't there for me either. Not sure. I even got a soft sausage on this one.
I'll go first on this one. 3 would be semi-aroused. You can definitely feel the blood flowing, so that wasn't there for me. I'm going to go 2.5. Yeah. Yeah, 2.5. Go.
Cool. I'm going to go 2.502.
For fuck's sake. I don't even need the calculator to work this one out, but I've already fucking typed it. Okay, cool. So that's 2.501. So, save me some Tingle. How much you'd recommend this to someone? I would not. It doesn't... My main reason for not picking this one is it's one of those where you really have to know about Chuck Tingle trying to prove that love is real in order to get the fact that he's making a point of he's a victim of his own doing, but love is still a real thing that he's just missed out on.
So I would recommend it to somebody who has read some Tinglers before. I would almost certainly recommend it to someone if they'd read any of the political Tinglers before, especially surrounding Donald Trump, which I think, and it's pretty well written as well. Like it does fly and it does cover a lot of ground. I'm gonna 3.2 to 2.
We might just stop calling this a book club and just start calling it Tom and Taz Laugh at Numbers. Right? I was gonna actually score it a little bit higher than that, because while I was gonna score it a little bit lower, you did turn me around with the fact, it does have that pacing. It does kind of go. So yeah, I'm gonna go for 3.756. That'll do. So
okay, cool.
3.489. Tingle Tilt. Now we are looking at quite a relatively low score at the moment for the 4 score, so a Tingle Tilt is going to be needed to push it up into the higher echelons of Tingle, but I don't believe this book deserves to be in the higher echelons of Tingle.
No. This is the solid middle ground.
Yeah.
3.6. Sorry, I just need to do 3.
Get out your abacus.
Carry the 7. 3.637.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. That's sort of... I'm going to say directly straight down the middle, 2.5. 0.1. To be a 0.2, just to copy you for the last one. And divide by 2. That's a 3.0695. Brings it out to a relatively average score. 4 score is 6.5614 out of 10.
Oh, what's it between?
Let's have a look. Sorry, it's got to the point now where on this spreadsheet, I have to hide all the columns because there's too fucking many books we've reviewed. So it's somewhere in between. It's just above Space Raptor Butt Invasion. And it's just below Living... Oh, no, sorry. Hang on. Funny enough, President Donald Loch Ness Trump pounds America's butt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have expected that to be the other way around. I would
Oh, no,
Trump
but...
below and then Space Raptor Butt Invasion just above. But hey, okay. Can't argue with the science, the immortal science of love that we do here. That is absolutely science, definitely.
All scores are final, apart from that one time where we did the scoring twice. Because we lost the recording. But, hey ho. I will actually upload these fucking scores today. I've got an hour or so with nothing to do, so I will upload these to the website,
Wicked.
which you can find at pottopicpodcast.com.
Cool. Yeah. So I guess all that's left is to thank you if you made it this far, and come back next time where we will be dealing with Creamed in the Butt by My Handsome Living Corn. No idea what that one's going to be about, other than, you know, fucking some creamed corn, I guess.
And of course,
So,
that
should
is
be
the
good.
that is the free book that we got with this one if you bought it.
It certainly is.
So
Thank you once again. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves, and whatever you do on these timelines, just remember to go out and prove love is real.
love is
And then
real.
listen to the Pot Topic podcast, which does exactly the opposite of that.
Yeah, it's basically just us getting drunk and fucking everything off. Yeah.
Bye. Love is real.
Love is real.